Hey vinyl friends and vinyl community, it's Brian from Brian's Vinyl Records, and this is part 4, the final part of my series on the soundtracks in my collection here. We start with Sta, and we move on all the way to, I don't have any Z's in here, but we'll get to W at least. So let's start with a classic, Star Wars. Found this recently while digging. It took a long time to find the actual Star Wars soundtrack. There's a version out there that is like a mishmash of the original trilogy soundtracks, and I didn't want that. That's not what I wanted. I really wanted the Star Wars soundtrack. I'm still on the hunt for Empire and Return of the Jedi, but I'm happy to have the original Star Wars soundtrack right here. John Williams. It's a classic, absolute classic. Great stuff. So super love this one. Speaking of Star Wars, here is The Last Jedi soundtrack. Another really great John Williams soundtrack. Love it. Really enjoy listening to all the Star Wars stuff. This is the only other one I have from Star Wars as far as the new and old movies go. I would love to pick up all of the other ones if I can find them, but it's finding them that seems to be the problem. And when you do, sometimes the prices are a bit high. So Star Wars The Last Jedi. Now we're moving into Stranger Things. Absolutely great soundtrack. If you love 80s music, this is your jam. Great stuff on here. Every Breath You Take by The Police. Should I Stay or Should I Go by The Clash. Hazy Shade of Winter by The Bangles. I mean, on and on, just hit after hit after hit. Great stuff on here. So definitely recommend checking out the Stranger Things soundtrack. Speaking of Stranger Things, I picked up the brand new Stranger Things Volume 3 soundtrack, and it is also absolutely fantastic. The Who, Bubba O'Reilly, you got Madonna, Material Girl, Foreigner, Cold as Ice on here. Patsy Cline's on here, man. John Mellencamp, The Pointer Sisters, REO Speedwagon, Weird Al is on here. Wham is on here. I mean, you can't go wrong with this. And of course, Never Surrender by Corey Hart is on here, so that's cool. It comes with this neat little puzzle in here, so that's kind of rad. And I got the Target exclusive version, which came with a red, white, and blue splattered vinyl. So very cool to pick this up. Love it. Stranger Things Volume 3 or Season 3. More John Williams. Superman the movie. Love Superman the movie, and this soundtrack is absolutely killer. Absolutely love it. Super happy to have this in my collection. I found this while digging at one of my favorite spots, which is Mill City Sound, and they have a ton of soundtracks in their collections. I always have to dig through them when I'm there, just trying to find those gems. That's one of them. This one I showed in my recent pickups. This is Superman 2, and this is by Kevin Thorne, inspired, of course, by John Williams, who did the title track, or the main title track, and really good. Kevin Thorne did a fantastic job building off of what John Williams started, and I really dig this soundtrack as well. So much that I might go and pick up the Superman 3 soundtrack, which has been sitting at my local store for a while. We'll see. Maybe pick that up. Another classic that should be in almost everyone's collection is Top Gun. Not a fan of Top Gun the movie personally. Don't take it too much offense, just not my jam. But this soundtrack is absolutely fantastic. Kenny Loggins, Danger Zone, how can you go wrong with that? Miami Sound Machine's on here, Playing with the Boys, Kenny Loggins. Really good soundtrack, 80s stuff. So definitely happy to have that in my collection. Next up, we have Urban Cowboy. This one I got for 99 cents. Took a chance on it because I saw it had Bonnie Raitt on here. It's got Jimmy Buffett, Charlie Daniels Band, the Eagles. I thought, well, you can't go wrong with a soundtrack that has great artists on here. And it's a pretty good soundtrack, so happy to have it. Never seen the movie. Just never got into John Travolta too much, so didn't see the movie. But good soundtrack, especially for 99 cents. All right, next up we have We Are the World. Yeah, historic recording and the single We Are the World. So I have both of these here. Good stuff on here. Chicago's on here. Hear This in the News. Steve Perry's on here. Pointer Sisters, Prince of the Revolution, Kenny Rogers, Bruce Springsteen, E Street Band, Tina Turner, Northern Lights, and of course USA for Africa with the title track. Really good all-around soundtrack or compilation. I guess I call it a soundtrack. I guess I put it in there even though it's not really a soundtrack. Maybe it should go in the compilations, but really good stuff. Here's a classic for me. I love this movie. Gosh, I must have watched it hundreds of times. And I found the soundtrack, believe it or not, sitting at a Barnes & Noble. And this is a soundtrack that came out, I think, let's see, it doesn't really tell me when it came out, but I think it came out in 2016 or 17 back on vinyl. And I just had never seen it before, and so I had to pick it up. This is Wayne's World official soundtrack. I mean, oh, this album is awesome. Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, Hot and Bothered by Cinderella, The Bullet Boys, Dreamweaver, Chili Peppers, Time Machine by Black Sabbath, Tia Carrere does Ballroom Blitz on here, Alice Cooper, Feed My Frankenstein, Foxy Lady, Jimi Hendrix, Lovin' Your Lovin' by Eric Clapton, and Why You Want to Break My Heart by Tia Carrere as well. But just phenomenal soundtrack. And the cool part about this one is it comes on blue and pink vinyl. So super cool. Love having that one. I picked this one up on a whim for $5.99, and it's actually a pretty good soundtrack. So this is Wild Wild West, Will Smith soundtrack. So fantastic and worth the few dollars I spent. And the very last soundtrack I have to show you is the soundtrack to the movie The Wiz, starring Michael Jackson and Diana Ross. Very strange movie, very strange soundtrack, but it's got Michael Jackson on here. Ease On Down the Road is on here, and I just had to get it because I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. So I picked it up. I think I paid $4 or $5 on this one as well, so not a huge expense. Worth having as well. All right, so there you have it. That's my sound. Hold the phone. Cutting in here because I forgot a few of my soundtracks that were sitting out in the other room. I have a bin out there of things I want to listen to, and these were in there. As I mentioned, of course, we got the Polar Express soundtrack here. Super excited about that. That just came out on vinyl for the first time. How could I forget this? I bought this for my wife. She's super pumped about it. This is the Sound of Music soundtrack, Julie Andrews. Not my personal favorite, but she absolutely loves this movie and is very excited to have this soundtrack. And last but certainly not least, how could I forget to show this? This is one of my recent finds. This is the Goonies soundtrack. How cool is this? This got Cyndi Lauper on here with the theme to the Goonies. You've got Tina Marie on here. You've got the Bangles on here. REO Speedwagon, Luther Vandross. This is awesome. So super excited. So sorry to cut in here on the end of this episode, but I didn't want to forget these. So there you go. Now we're officially done. Back to your regularly scheduled video collection. I hope you enjoyed this series on soundtracks. Let me know your thoughts. What soundtracks do you recommend out there? My interests are anywhere from pop, country, and metal music, grunge music, really a wide range of everything. Some of the soundtracks that I really am looking for currently are the Karate Kids 1 and 2 soundtrack. I really want to get those. Those are high on my list of things that I want. There's so many. Also, I picked up the Polar Express the other day. That's out there. It needs to be cleaned and everything, so I didn't have it on the list, but Polar Express soundtrack as well. I picked that up. That'll probably end up in my holiday collection, though, instead of my soundtrack collections, just because of the nature of the tunes on there. So there you go. Yeah, if you have soundtrack recommendations, I'd love to hear them below. I'm always looking for great soundtracks. I hope you enjoyed this series. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're new, please hit that subscribe button. If you missed any of the series, there's 3 other videos out there to watch, alphabetically going through my soundtrack collection. Again, hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep spinning vinyl, friends.